wait for some heads to get up in here. We can start this interview, short, brief interview. Yeah.
We here, y'all.
We here. Well, ladies and gentlemen, big conversation with Super C. You know how I do the podcast joint. I had a couple heavy hitters up here recently.
Mm-hmm.
Now we got another heavy hitter from the north part of the Bronx. My main man, Big Rich the Ruler. How you doing, Rich?
Yes, sir. What's going on, Super C, man? It's all good, man. It's all good.
Yeah, I'm just maintaining, man. Just try to, get these interviews in place and get everybody familiar with my guests.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? And as I started saying before, before things had got interrupted. So I met you through my good best friend, Stan Strong. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that was crazy.
And at that time, you and him was doing radio.
Yeah. It was funny because we talked about this earlier. Me and Stan, we was over at Mingles one night, and we were just sitting around talking, and Sam was like, yo, Rich, I want to get into radio. And that's something that I always wanted to do. So we decided we was going to try it together. We hit like about 3 or 4 different underground stations.
Right.
Royal Radio, Love Radio. We was at like about 3 or 4 underground stations, and then we went major. We went to Irie Jam. That's where the first major station that we did. That's the reggae of Hot 97, Irie Jam. Mm-hmm. And we did like 3 or 4, maybe like 3 to 4 to 5 shows on Irie Jam. And what happened was, at Irie Jam, they had us on late. They had us on real late. Mm-hmm. So one night, me and Stan, we left the station and we went to sit down at the diner. And when we got there, 2 or 3 young ladies walked up to us and was like, we was just listening to your show. So that let us know that people was really listening. So,
right.
We kept just trying. So then we went up to the Matrix. We rocked up there for a while. And then I decided, you know what? This is what I want to do. I want to do radio. So I got together with my partners and we decided to put together this iAccess radio station, and we ran with it. Me, Big Al, Santee, and all of us, we got together and we put this iAccess radio station with the help of others, like the new people that's with the Wave, Rito, RM, Miss Randall, and all of us. We're rolling and making the station what it is to this day.
So let's rewind. All right. So when did you wanted to get involved in this entertainment field?
Well, the real start from me was I used to do bodyguard for Brownsville.
Okay.
I was touring with them for a while, and then after I came back, I said I just want to be in the industry. Then I started working at this club called Club Nick's. That was on 32nd and 5th Avenue. And at this club, you seen all the major celebrities. And one of the promoters was like, this is something where you can make money and have a good time doing it. So I said, let me get into this promotional field. Mm-hmm. And from there, I was the first one. I was in a group called 4D. That was my first group. And we did the bank way downtown. Mm. Remember down in the Wall Street area?
Yes.
We did a strip show, and then we did an after party. And I think that night we had DJ Lady D Wells and Red Alert. That was our first big party.
Right.
Then after that, I took over Mingles and had a run at Mingles that nobody can ever do. Mm-hmm. I did a 20-year run at Mingles.
Wow.
First Fridays. It's funny. I'm not trying.
But how did you get involved with the bodyguard work? Like, how did you get in that field first?
That's crazy because I was working at a parking garage on Wall Street.
Okay.
And the cousin of Brownstone, his name was Dre, and at that time he was the DJ for Father MC.
Okay.
And he came into the garage. And he was like, "Yo, you a big fella. Yo, you need to be doing bodyguard work." So I was like, "Well, I'm trying to get into the field." He said, "Well, I got a situation for you if you can go." So I was like, "What's the situation?" And I didn't even know anything about Brownstone at the time.
Right.
This was the original members. And he was like, "Yo, if you can leave next week, I can get you doing bodyguard work, making such and such money, rolling with Brownstone right now." I went back to my boss. I said, "This is something I wanted to do. I wanted to get into it." He said, "That's what you really want to do. I'll give you the blessings." And I went on tour with Brownstone.
So you just bounced? You didn't take a leave of absence?
No, I said, listen, I'm going to work with Brownstone. And I went out with Brownstone for a couple of months. I rode with them for a couple of months, and then I came back, and then I got into expediting work.
Okay.
After that, yeah.
You ever met Michael Jackson?
No, I'm not going to tell that story. I never met Michael, but...
There's a story?
Yeah, I mean, it's when I say a story, I'm not going to tell the story and say, yeah, I met Michael Jackson. I didn't meet him.
Okay,
you know what I mean? I didn't meet him. No, I never met Michael Jackson, but they was under his label. Okay. I never got a chance to meet him. No.
So how long you toured with them?
I was only with Brownsville for a couple of months. Well, maybe like I want to say maybe about 4 to 5 months.
Mm-hmm.
I was out with Brownstone. It was a good tour. It was a good little one. Like I said, the guy who took me on the tour was the father MC DJ. His name was Dre.
Right.
And then his cousin was Bernard Alexander, the manager at that time of Brownstone.
Was it worth it leaving your job for that?
Yeah, it was worth it.
It was worth it.
Definitely.
You don't regret nothing?
No, I don't regret it. It was an experience that I tell everybody. I've seen a lot of things. I've seen a lot of industry things, and I got to meet a lot of famous people. They took care of me. They made sure I was good, And then, that was an experience that I love.
So, who else influenced you with this music? Like I know you have famous people in your family,
right?
You know what I'm saying? Did that person? I will let you mention them.
Okay.
Did that person influence you for you to put your full step throttle?
It's crazy.
Into that?
It's crazy, see, because a lot of people don't know this, but Roger Troutman, the one who made Computer Love, More Bounce to the Ounce, I Want to Be Your Man, that's my cousin.
Okay.
And my mom's and my grandmother and their mother was first cousins.
Mm-hmm.
So my grandmother used to always try to tell me, let's go to Ohio, go out there. But I didn't, at that time, I'm so New York, I ain't going to Ohio, nothing like that. So one family reunion, I said, let me go out there with the family. And I went out there and I met Roger.
Okay.
And he took me, because Roger, a lot of people don't know this, Roger never stayed in the house. He stayed up in the loft. And he took me to this loft where I went to go meet him. And he was showing me the music he did and everything. We sat and we talked for a while. So he said, well, your grandmother's trying to get you to come down here to work with us, because they also had a construction company,
right?
Troutman Entertainment. So I was like, you know what? That's another field that I was thinking about. You know what? I'm going out there. He said, we're going to start you out, come down here, work with the construction company. And I thought, you know what? I'm going to go.
Right.
And then a couple of weeks later, the tragedy happened where he passed away. Him and his brother.
So when I think of him, I think of West Coast, but he's from Ohio.
Right, he's from Dayton, Ohio.
Wow.
Yeah. So.
A lot of times you hear like music and stuff, you start picturing these celebrities, you always think, oh, he sounds like he's from the West or whatever, but they're right here.
Yeah, he was from Dayton, Ohio. Like I said, a couple of weeks before that, I was out there for family reunion, and but everything happens for a reason. I mean, I'm not gonna say that he passed away for a reason, but I didn't go down there, and I got into the field that I want to be in. So, so.
How was your life as a teen?
Oh, it's crazy because I feel like I always tell people I had the best of both worlds.
Okay.
Growing up in the Bronx, my family, my moms and my pops, we lived in Soundview. But my grandmother lived in Bronx River.
Okay.
So Soundview and Bronx River, I'm the best of both worlds, I call it. I learned being around my Bronx River family.
Right.
And as well as the Soundview family. I seen it all. I seen from the Soul Sonic Force to the Jazzy 5 MCs. So it was like.
So is Bronx River considered no part of the Bronx?
I'm not gonna say it's the north part of the Bronx, but it was the part of the Bronx where I hung out the most. I was in Bronx River more than I was in Soundview, but I lived in Soundview. So like I said, I seen the Jazzy 5,
okay,
Will Trax and all of them. I seen Lord Tariq. I knew all of them when I was young. Like I seen.
So you ain't that. So you're not as old as people think. Because I'm going back to like Bambaataa, Zulu Nation.
I mean, that's all. I mean, it was errors. I was there for. I'm glad to say that I was there.
But he wants to stay with Will Trax in the man.
No. It's funny. No. Once again, like I said, I seen the whole Soul Sonic Force, Mr. Biggs and all of them. I know all of them very well.
Okay.
As well as I grew up in Soundview, knowing the Jazzy 5 MCs. I lived in the same building with Master B.
Okay.
So I seen the Jazzy 5 grow as they went on, then to the era of now where we're at with Will Trax and them. So I feel like I had the best of both worlds because I got love in Soundview and I also got love in Bronx River.
Okay. Mm-hmm. When hip hop, early hip hop, what fascinated you about when they was doing hip hop in the parks?
It's funny. Okay, so we're gonna talk about. It's funny because I always say this. For me, back in the days when I was younger, to get into a party, the party wasn't as expensive as it was, $3 to $5, something like that, to get into a party, no more than 10. But for me to get into a party, I used to carry records. I used to, when it was time for them to go get the crates and the speakers and all that, I wanted to get in that truck to be part of that team to go get the records from Jazzy J House, go get the speakers from J House, and get to the parties and, you know, carry the equipment in, and I'm in for free. Then after a while, they start to know you, and that's how I got my little name for, you know, getting into the parties.
What was your nickname?
I had a whole bunch of. I had so many nicknames back then, but Big Rich is, you know, what stuck out the most. And because the team that I was in, there was one Rich, there was two named Rich. There was a Big Rich and there was a Little Rich. So
right.
I was Big Rich. You know.
Any great moments like battles you saw during that time?
I seen it all. I seen it all. Like you was talking, you want to talk about what up, Kid New? What's going on, DJ Kid New? You want to talk about battles? I used to always get back then we had the cassette tapes.
Okay.
Red would get all the tapes and we would get the tapes. And I remember some of the battles the best battle that I ever remember was back in the day with Kumo D and Busy B.
All the world.
Yeah, that right there that's you talking about battling back in the day. Busy B was nowhere near ready for what Kumo D brought to him that day.
Right.
And that changed the game of battle rap. That was like the beginning of battle rap to me.
Right.
I mean, you hear more eras of people saying battle rap now. But
right.
back then, battle rap to me was to hear an MC. You would hear.
Because I'm sorry. Yeah.
You would hear Cold Crush versus the Fantastic, or, you know, back then in that era, I seen it all. So.
Because I heard that even though Mo D won, they said that Busy B was the man. His performance was way better than Mo D's.
Yeah, I mean, but see, once again, back in that era, Busy B was like the party host.
Okay.
So back then, he was like the biggest party host.
Right.
Kumo D was an entertainer. He was putting out records and all that stuff. But at that time, Busy B, doing the party hosting situation, he had a bigger crowd than Mo D then, until he started putting out them records. And when the Treacherous 3 came out with them records, then it was, you know.
First hip hop record you heard?
First hip hop record I heard. Man, I don't want to mess the game up, but I'm telling you, I heard.
No, what you heard? What you like? Your preference? You know.
I'm gonna tell you what. One of the first groups. Like I said, once again, being from Bronx River, I was with them when they had the Soul Sonic. They had a group called the Cosmic Force. Then one of the guys, God rest his soul, he just passed away. His name was Ice Ice, and Ice was part of the Soul Sonic Force. So I was there when he used to write his rhymes and sit down, and I was in the room with him,
okay.
So, and then I used to like my favorite rapper back then was Raheem from the Furious Five.
Why Raheem?
I just felt like his lines, he was before his time.
I heard that a lot of people liked him more than Melly Mel.
I guess maybe. Well, I'm not gonna touch that. But
just talk what the people say.
Well,
because I heard that was a really real.
I just think yeah. That's why I said some things I ain't gonna touch that. But I said that back then, Raheem from the Furious Five was my favorite rapper.
Okay.
Back then, at that time.
Okay. Mm-hmm. All right, so, you know, we were in the parks and all that, you know what I'm saying, Bronx River, you know what I'm saying, so you claim Bronx River, Soundview,
right?
You know what I'm saying. I don't know where I'm getting, I'm thinking about Eden Wall and all that. Have you been around Eden Wall and all that?
Well, growing up, after we moved from Soundview, we moved to Co-op City.
Okay.
So going to Eden Wall was to play basketball because they had the Sousa gym and all that up there. So we would go up there, like Tricky T and all would be up there.
Right.
Dave Shoe and all of them. That little, you know.
Area.
That area. And then they had some very good basketball players. Back then I was into basketball more than anything.
Okay.
Back then we used to go up to Eden Wall to play basketball. You know, they had the tournaments up there, so we would go up there. So, I mean, I seen all of that part. like I said, it's funny because you see all of it. I'm Soundview, Bronx River, Castle Hill, Bronxdale, Monroe. If you was going to see in the summertime, there might be a jam. in Soundview tonight. Tomorrow night there might be a jam in Brownsville. There might be a jam in. So you would go from project to project, and there was no problem back then. There was none of that beef and all that.
Dope. Have you ever like traveled out to Harlem, Brooklyn, partied out there, and seen like DJs from Harlem or either Brooklyn play? DJ Flowers, anything? Have you seen them play?
Okay, so let's go back. As we got older, I told you I did expedite work.
Right.
So one of the clients that we had, and it's crazy because I watched the Wendy Williams show a couple of weeks ago, and we worked for Kev. He had a club downtown Brooklyn. He had a little spot down there. And the expediter that I was working for, Kev was one of his contracts.
Right.
So watch that Wendy Williams story, I seen a lot of that stuff. To me was I had to laugh because I seen a lot of working with Kev. He was a no nonsense type of dude. So
right.
He was the first person I ever seen DJ at his spot. What was that DJ who just Lance?
Oh, DJ Lance.
DJ Lance. DJ Lance.
Rest in peace, Lance.
Yeah, rest in peace. He was the first DJ that I seen DJ out of Brooklyn, and I was like, wow. And then working there, and I used to go there a lot. I used to talk to Lance, so he was my first Brooklyn DJ that I loved. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So your first DJ that you had work for you was Lady D Wells?
Okay. So let's go back to starting. When you're talking about working for me, because once again, I worked at a spot called Nick's.
Okay.
And at Nick's, we would book the DJs.
Okay.
So I seen every DJ come through there.
Okay.
So, I mean, as far as me as a promoter,
yeah.
I want to say Red Alert. I got to say Red Alert.
Red
Alert played for us down at the bank. And then it's crazy because once again, growing up in Brownsville, Red Alert was there. He's part of Jazzy J was his cousin. So he would be in Brownsville all the time. So,
So this is Latin Quarters Red.
Red Alert.
Woo!
Chris Ali, the Violators, all of them. That era right there. Jerry from Bronx River and all of them, the mayor, all of them. I was around all of that, yeah.
Nice. So your background, are you American or West Indian?
No, I'm American.
American?
Yeah, straight from North Carolina.
Oh, I mean, you eat a lot of oxtails and stuff.
Nah, man, I try to stay away from all that red meat now. I'm trying to come down, stupid. See, I'm definitely trying to come down. I got this little thing on there right now on my Facebook page. I'm trying to lose 50 pounds before we hit down the Bronx Day. So
okay.
Trying to work on that right now.
All right. So we leaving Nick's now, and now like, what establishment did you when you left from Nick's?
All right. So when we left Nick's, because now this is crazy, and you can't tell stories on these things because people are gonna see these things. So I was down at Nick's. So the owner was a Korean owner. He trusted us a lot. So he gave me a night. Okay. After a while, he said, I'm going to give you a night. And he gave me a Wednesday night. And on Wednesday nights, we did comedy. And I partnered up with Capone. So Capone was doing Wednesdays down at Nick's. Me, Capone, and another young man was doing comedy at Nick's. It was a nice spot. But it was hard to get the people from the Bronx and all that to come all the way down to 34th Street on a Wednesday to see comedy.
Right. So
I felt from that point on, I had to find me another venue. And that's when I heard about Mingles.
Okay.
It's crazy because Dave Shue was offered Mingles first. And he turned it down. Wow. He said, I don't want to be committed to a spot every month when I got to take my peoples downtown too.
Right.
So Dave Shue, once again, I tell the story because that's my brother. Dave Shue was offered Mingles first. Then when I went to go see the guy at Mingles, I'm like, get out of here. The dude that owned Mingles was a childhood friend of mine. We grew up as friends since we were like 13 or 14 years old. So then he was like, yo, Rich, I heard you're a promoter, boom, boom, boom. Can you do a Friday? So I said, yeah. He said, what Friday you want? I said, let's try this thing called First Fridays. And at the time, it was me and my partner, Bezo. Let's Get It On Entertainment.
Bezo, what's up?
We decided at that time, DJ Knuckles was fire.
Yes.
So we hooked up with Knuckles, and we ran.
And what year was this?
Well, let's go. I'm going to say it was 20 years ago. We did 20. We did. Oh, well, it was over 20 years ago because we did 20 years of First Friday. And
so,
we've been friends.
So this had to be like what? Because at that time Knuckles was hot.
Knuckles
He was doing a lot of
fire.
Gator joints. So it was early 2000
The first time I heard Knuckles
or
was
99.
I want to say, truthfully, I'm not. I just want to go back 20 years. So that I don't want to get the numbers wrong, but the first time I heard Knuckles was at a family production party.
Okay.
Family Productions, Keisha, and I heard Knuckles. He was there and he was killing it. And I said, you know what? I hooked up with Dre, and me and Dre talked, and I said, we're gonna open up this spot uptown. And Knuckles. A lot of people don't know that Knuckles was the first DJ who ever DJ'd for First Friday at Mingles.
Yes, that's true.
Right.
And who was the second DJ? Was it Super Rocky and Kim?
Super Rock. Then after Knuckles, we went with Knuckles for a couple of years, and then we took over with Super Track Inc. And then was Will Tracks, and E Kim.
E. Kim. Now Knuckles held it down for a long time.
Knuckles held it down for a couple of years, but I think E. Kim
Had the
was
longest?
he had the longest streak with First Friday.
Okay.
Yeah, E. Kim.
Okay.
E. Kim.
Okay.
Yeah, Knuckles was with us for a while, but I think E. Kim run was longer than. But like I said, we went from every DJ that ever touched. We had Ty Boogie, we had Lady D Wells, we had Jew, we had Messiah, we had Ty Boogie, we had Stand Strong, Smooth Ski. We had everybody. Everybody touched First Fridays. Everybody.
Right. But I'm saying, I mean now, because there's a new generation that you put in place now. But back then it was E. Kim, Knuckles, Stand Strong, Messiah, myself.
Yeah. Lady D Wells.
Lady D Wells. Now, Lady D Wells, like, you was the first one to bring her the Mingles.
Yeah. I was the first one to bring her uptown. And she turned out. She was one of the first female DJs that we used at the time. Yeah, she turned up.
Now, give people an idea what type of club Mingles is and how hard, you had to think to put certain DJs in that perspective, because that shit is like the Apollo.
Okay. Super C, I get that question a lot. But let me explain something to you. Okay. So a lot of people never understood the owner of Mingles' strategy to keep Mingles going. His strategy was you had to dress a certain way. He didn't want just to bring any crowd. Now you can put clothes on a street guy or a bum and they can come in there, but that was what would keep the riffraff out for all the years. And everybody was like, "Oh man, Mingles think they all that because you got to dress up and all that." But as the years went on and the other clubs were shutting down, he would look at us and say, "You know what? This is why we still going. We stick to our rules. Other people wouldn't let you wear uptown sneakers and all that. He wouldn't do that. You couldn't wear. You had to wear a button-up. When we first started out, you couldn't even wear a polo shirt in Mingles.
Right.
You had to wear a button-down shirt. You had to do this. But that's what kept the longevity of Mingles, because we never broke down on our dress code, and we never just said we're going to do it this way because y'all want it this way.
Right. Now, as far as DJs, what was your strategy of picking certain DJs? Because that crowd up there is really hard.
It's really hard. At the point in time, like I said, after Knuckles, we had E. Kim. So E. Kim basically would call us and say, "Well, this month I want to use, this much I want to use," and we let him run with whoever he wanted to use, because he, at that point, E. Kim was the one to connect for whoever we had. He said, "Yo, this month, let's use Ty Boogie." We would use Ty Boogie. This month, let's use this, and that's what we did. E. Kim did the flyers, and this is what we did. We just ran with the First Friday names, and that's what we did. Yeah.
Any DJ that you put in a predicament there that you said, I shouldn't have did that? I mean, you don't have to say their name.
No, I never felt that.
Okay.
One DJ, I'm gonna say one DJ that I didn't work enough with, that I would like to have worked with more, and still into the future, I want to work with him. He's hot as hell back then. All that is one who's watching right now. Kid New is one of Let me tell you something. I tell you this, and I was telling my partner Al this a couple of weeks ago. Having a podcast station, we was like one of the first people, like you said, the other radio stations, but podcast right now is so hot.
Right.
And what I do during the week is I watch other podcast shows. I'm not ashamed to say it. I watch other podcast shows. I look at the interviews. I listen to how people, because you don't want to go to the same pod and ask the same questions and all that. So you get different questions, you get different views, and I went to Kid News show a couple of weeks ago, and I watched the interview with him and Mr. C.
Right.
And like I said, you learn more. You learn questions because Mr. C asked Kid New a question. He said, well, there's a difference between a club DJ and a radio DJ.
Right.
And they broke that down.
Mm-hmm.
And when they broke that down, I sat back for a second. I said, wow, I never looked at it like that. So like I said, I'm not ashamed to say I watch other podcasts.
Right.
When Kid New and Super C was talking about that, I watch Kid New shows. I watch your shows. I watch Fat Joe shows. This is how you get to learn more about other people and questions. Because like I said, I remember when I was doing the major interviews, I did people like 50 Cent. I was one of the first to do 50 Cent.
Right.
I did Nelly. I did Ice Cube. I did Master P. I was looking through my book the other day. This is crazy to me. And we're gonna at the radio station we're gonna upgrade our bios with Miss Randall. And I'm looking through some of the people that I was dealing with back then, some old, and I never knew, I forgot about this, that I interviewed Tamar Braxton.
Oh, wow.
And I'm looking like, oh snap. I'm looking at some of the people who I interviewed. I got the articles at home, and I was going through them. Tamar, After 7, a lot of these old people that I forgot I even interviewed. Master P, Master Silk the Shocker. And people say, well, Rich, why don't you show this? Because one of the first people, like I said, Fat Joe was one of the people. And like I said, that's why I watch the show. Fat Joe, when I he had Jimmy's Cafe.
Right.
He would make sure that everybody, he said there would be no other shows that'd be able to come in there. And he made sure that everybody came in there, I got a chance to interview. He got me LL, he got me Goody Mob, he got me the Lost Boys. Like this is what I'm saying, when they was first out.
Wow.
Locks, all of them. So, and I'm sitting there and I'm looking at this, I'm looking at my resume. When I seen Tamar Braxton, I'm like, oh, Keisha, what's the one that's married to Swiss Beats?
Yeah, that's Alicia Keys.
Alicia Keys. I'm sitting there looking at this thing like, I cannot believe that I did all these people before they was even anybody.
Wow.
Like I said, so we're up doing our bios. So these are some of the things I'm going to bring to Ms. Randall and let her see.
Right. I used to do platforms at City College, right?
Yeah, we did this thing called the VIP Lounge. We did 3 episodes, and we're working on the 4th one now. It's independent artists. We're bringing them up, and one of the artists that we did happens to be a family member of mine, and his name is Deja Blue.
Okay.
And I'm going to leak it. He might get mad at me, but right now he's working with Lil Wayne and them. He's doing a lot of writing and producing with Lil Wayne and them, and he's working on his album right now. So
that's what's up.
One of the peoples that we had on there was him. We had a lot of independent. One of the dancers that we had, his name was Cartier. He's the Sandman at the Apollo now.
Oh, okay.
And like I said, being in the entertainment field, I love the fact that I was in it for so long, and it was a good thing, man.
So when the pandemic broke out, was you still doing First Fridays?
In the pandemic, we was doing First Fridays, but not as much.
Okay.
We was doing every once in a while we would throw a First Friday in there, and people ask me when the pandemic is over, are you gonna go back to promoting? Are you? Super C, let me tell you something. After a while, when you run a game, you get tired. I mean, doing First Fridays and all that, it was a beautiful run we had. When I got the Smile for Sonya Award, that was enough for me to say I can finish promoting, because you lead the promoting game up to the younger guys now because of what's going on as far as out here in these clubs. Everybody's, the game has changed.
Right.
So as far as promoting, I don't think I really want to promote anymore. Right now, I'm rocking with Uncle Burn and them, Snowski and them. So that's enough for me right now,
So this is the reason why you cross over back into the radio. Did you have your own radio station along with your other associates? Big Al and who?
Yeah, Santee and Pro and all. Yeah. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So once again, let's go back to the IXS radio.
Okay.
It was a situation where after I left doing other people's, I said, this is something I want to do. So I felt to myself I had to get a team that's going to work for everybody.
Right.
Big Al was the first one I knew because I knew that he was in the industry. He knew engineering. He was a producer, and he had the connections as far as let's get this together. So I went to Big Al first. I said, Big Al, this is something I want to do. He said to me, Rich, come up with a plan. Show me something what you want to do. Bring it better to me, and then we can do it. So I had to come up with a plan. I had to come up with the rest of the team. So I went with my other partner. We sat down with him, and then we decided, okay, this is going to be the nucleus to do what we want. So now you know how Al is.
Yeah.
You got to show him what you're
prove,
right.
Yeah.
You got to show him. So we put it out there like we're going to do this radio station. We came up with the name. Then we went and got a location.
How did you come up with the name anyway? IXS. Like
yeah.
what made you get that name?
Okay.
IXS.
That's between Al. I'm not going to tell you no story. Al.
How you get that name, Al?
Actually, Pro was the one that came up with
Right.
the name.
Okay.
I had
This is Big Al, ladies and gentlemen.
Hey people, how y'all doing? Yeah, I had came up with a logo,
Okay.
right? And it looked like a little Martian, the first logo I did,
Right.
with headphones on. And because Pro kept saying something like about we got to be able to go around the world but stay grounded to where we are, but go around the world. And I was like, well, that's like spinning on an axis, right? Then he goes, how about I-axis radio? And that's how we basically came up with that.
Yeah.
But Pro put that name together.
And how long has, since I got both of you here, how long has IX's video been in the physical?
6 years now.
6 years.
6 years, non-stop.
6 years.
Non-stop. We bounce from place to place. Now we finally got our own home,
Right.
We have other facilities and listen, big up to DITC,
Yeah.
big up to the tattoo parlor because they really allowed us
City.
to stay grounded enough to see what it was that we needed so we could get to the stage we are now.
What's up?
And that build is important, man.
And just a little bit like what does IX Radio consist of as far as on your showcase?
Okay, so we deal with a little bit of everything from classic R&B music to pop music to talk shows to the regular hood type reality show podcast where we embedded in the neighborhoods and we're dealing with the people as they come up, artists who wants to make their name be known. We created that platform for all those people who don't get a chance to get heard because big radio want to charge them an arm and a leg just to come on and do something.
Right.
Right. That's awesome. And we're gonna have a photo shoot today. Then we're gonna have all the clients be here today around 4. We're gonna be here until about 7, 8 o'clock.
Yeah.
About 7.
You know what I'm saying? But the main thing, like everybody's talking, because I hear rumors in the street, about IX's radio and when the two CEOs is going to battle each other, I keep hearing, Big Rich got his said, Al has his said, when is this going to really take place, guys?
So I'm gonna tell you the truth. This was supposed to happen when we was at DITC, right? Mm-hmm. That weekend, I brought my laptop. I was like, okay, Rich, let's go. He was like, okay, you open up. So I'm doing little mixes, simple stuff, nothing crazy, because I wanted to see my skills.
Right.
He bowed out right there. Nah, I ain't ready. I don't know. Wow. Yeah, man. So I was like, you know what? Go ahead, man. Because I've been a DJ my whole life.
Right.
And once you're a DJ, you don't forget.
Exactly.
You know that, right?
Exactly.
Okay. He tell me he need to practice. He got to get a better system. I ain't had no system.
A better
yet.
system?
Okay.
Yeah. All right,
So now
let's see what he's saying. Let's see what he's saying.
It's always two sides to a story.
Uh-huh.
It's his side and it's the truth. So this is the truth.
Wait a minute, so he's what you
Rich.
This is what happened.
Rich, I'm not telling the truth,
This
Rich. We got footage. Y'all go to iAccess Radio, Ustream. You can go check out, look at the old footage, and you'll see that day.
Okay.
You'll see that day, and he bowed out.
Okay, so that's.
And then there was a few times where he didn't have a DJ for a show. Yo, Al, I need for you to help me out. Who came to the table?
Okay.
If he was a DJ, he wouldn't need me, right?
Okay,
Right.
so
Thank you. That's it.
There's two sides to a story. That's his side, and this is the truth.
Oh,
Right,
my
so
God.
What happened was we had we was setting up a situation where we were going to do a battle. He has a laptop. I didn't have the better laptop. He had a better laptop than me. So he was able to be at the station more than me, and he would practice. I hadn't. Wait a minute, stop. Really. So he's been practicing, and now he done got one of the BX boys to have his back on this DJ RM. So now it's not just a one-way battle now. Super C, it's a three-way battle. It's me, Super C, me, RM, and Al. But, ladies and gentlemen, I want to do this now. Since I felt like Super C has his own podcast and all this, and he has a live stream and all that, I want to put Super C in the mix too. I'm calling you out too. So now it's the three of y'all. That's what I'm doing with this. The three of y'all. I'm calling all three of y'all out right now.
Your man is losing.
Yo,
it.
that's what I'm trying to
Your
say.
man is losing his
Man.
seat. He losing his
Does
mind.
that water have alcohol inside it? Wow. Well, then you got it. You know what I mean? You got Big Rich the Liar.
Come on now.
You know? And this is my man Big Al, you know, and and please look up IX's radio.
Yeah, man, thank you.
Follow
man.
IX's radio.
Thank you for the support.
And this is the station. And DJs, if you want a home, a lot of times, you know, you might hear from me, but y'all guys might not take me seriously. But this is right here in your face, and you see the owners. You see these gentlemen here.
That's right.
Or you see the gentleman here. Approach them. You don't have to go through me. You can talk to them. Their numbers is on the Google. Google them up. Holler at them. Look, I want to do a show here. You know, I want to do a podcast. Whatever that you prefer to do, as long as it's not anything destroying this place or degrading it, you're welcome. You know what I mean? They got rules and regulations you got to obey by, but you're welcome. As long as you apply. You know what I mean? And then DJs, this is a good spot right here to bring up your brand. You know what I mean? It helped me out greatly. It's helping DJ RM out. And the rest of the other DJs and associates that's in here that's doing their shows. And this is the big conversation with DJ Super C with Big Rich the Ruler.
All right.
My main man Big Al.
All right.
You know what I'm saying? And look out for more stuff, you know, from these IX Radio great people, along with myself. And God bless you.
Peace.
Peace out.